Makes it easier to.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of the FemiNinja Project. And thank you so much for tuning in. As always, I have a fantastic, fascinating guest with me today. His name is Rene. He is a warrior who is focused on helping others improve their mind, body, and spirit. He is the host of the I Am Pain Free podcast, owner of I Am Pain Free, CEO of Exodus Strong, and a former executive at IBM. Rob is also a former high level athlete and near death survivor whose life was transformed after a near fatal accident. He has a deep passion for natural health and healing, and as an inspiring speaker, herbalist, and molecular hydrogen researcher, Rob uses cutting edge techniques to help people heal while exposing the hidden truths behind the mainstream medical system. Rob, thank you so much for being here today and welcome to the show.
I'm so excited to be here. I'm excited for the conversation.
Oh, so am I. And you're talking about a lot of some of my favorite topics. So
Good.
I'm just going to turn it over to you. And I guess you would start with the life transforming experience. I mean, sounds pretty serious.
Yeah, sounds good. So I'll start off. We'll go way back to kind of the beginning. When I was young, I was an athlete, and I loved found that running was kind of one of the things that I was really good at compared to other sports.
Mhm.
And I was doing really well when I was young. But one of the things that I did that really has an important impact on my story, even today, is I read this book called Eat to Win. And that book was transformative back when I was, a young athlete because I really learned how to fuel my body appropriate. I was a distance runner, so having energy at the end of a race was really important. And all my competition, they'd be eating hamburgers and hot dogs and sodas, and I was fueling my body appropriately. And I always had a really good finish to races, and people would get frustrated. They're like, "Gosh, how could we beat this guy?" And it was literally because in my opinion, obviously, I think God gave me a little bit of natural talent, but I think eating healthy and well was really a key to my success. And my goal when I was young is to be a professional runner because I
Mhm.
was good. I ended up winning a national championship in cross country. And then I got a full ride running scholarship to a Division I school.
Wow.
And they had just produced a bunch of professional runners. So that was my goal. I was like, okay, I'm going to be a professional runner. And then I just made the U.S. junior team. So I was the second best miler in the country. And then all of a sudden, I was out on a training run in Utah. And it was a cold, wintry day with snow everywhere. And my friend and I were on this long 10-mile run. And he, about halfway through, my buddy, I heard him yell at me, and I didn't know what he was yelling for. So I turned around. He was running behind me. And all of a sudden, I see this 4x4 truck coming, and this 4x4 truck was just sliding right towards me, and I had
Oh,
nowhere to go, nothing to do. And I said, I'm gonna get hit. I'm gonna get hit. And it hit me in my hip and threw me 36 feet. So, 36 feet is a
jeez.
really long way. I landed straight on my face and then my
Oh,
knees, and I was unconscious because of that. And I had a bloody nose during the run, and it clogged my throat. So
mm,
I was in really bad shape. I'm unconscious, unable to breathe, on the side of the road, bleeding out. And so it was, I'm really, really blessed to be alive because my
mhm.
friend ended up realizing I was under really bad distress and unclogged my throat. And if he hadn't have done that, I would have perished because it took quite a while for the paramedics to
Wow.
get to me. So ever since that time, I knew God had a plan for my life. I
Mhm.
wasn't sure what that plan was because I did go through a really interesting period of time for 4 or 5 years. I was really depressed and just, I'd lost my whole life goal, right?
Mhm.
And so that was really, really frustrating. So I went into the corporate world, and I did
Mhm.
what the society tells you to do, right? It's like, okay, you got to go get a college degree, and then you have to go get a full-time job, and then you have to get married and have 3 kids and have a white picket fence. And I did all those things, but it was just there was There was no um, just satisfaction. I just didn't feel
Mm-hmm.
like I was doing what God intended me to do. It was just like
Mm-hmm.
going through the motions. And don't mean that disrespectfully to my family or my kids, but it was just there was nothing really there. And then, I got hit by this second truck. But this second truck is a metaphorical truck, and it's a
Okay.
truck that everybody got hit by. It was the pandemic. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
and and the reason why I call it my second truck is because it had a similar impact on my life. Right.
Mm-hmm.
That first one was like really dramatic. It was like, okay, I'm really doing great. And all of a sudden, boom, in one
Yeah.
moment, my life is transformed. Right. And then it's like had to recover from that and live my life, and then all of a sudden boom, the pandemic hit and I lost my sales job. And I was like, what the heck is going on? And I was trying to figure out how to take care of my family. Right, everybody at
Yeah.
the beginning of the pandemic's like, oh my gosh, this is scary, so what do we do? And that's where it brought me back to that original book. Remember the Eat to Win book?
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, hey, well, I know that nutrition is very important. So, in order to protect me and my family, I'm going to go back and figure out what nutrients we need to be taking to help us, prevent from getting this bad thing, right? Let's help people with this virus. And then I started seeing the vilification of all natural health doctors. So, and they were vilifying this guy, and he was just recommending vitamin D. And I'm like,
Yes.
hold on, vitamin D is like the sun, right? It's like,
Mm-hmm.
how is that bad? And I knew it wasn't bad, so I was like, this is strange. Why are they doing that to this guy?
Mm-hmm.
And then I started doing research on why they would, and this is the first time in my life I'd actually had time to do my research because
Mm-hmm.
my before the pandemic, I was working full time, I had a really good job. I was, doing the normal things that people do, is taking care of my children in the evenings, shuffling them to their sports, and then, I didn't have time to do any research on things that were going on in the world. So this is the first time in my life I'd really spent time looking. I was like, I started peeling the onion back and I was like, oh my gosh, our healthcare system is a mess in the United States. And I hadn't understood that at all. I just
Mm-hmm.
grew up as an athlete and as a young man, as like, you trust the white coat, right? If you get sick, you go see the doctor, and then you do what the doctor tells you, and then you go do your thing. And your children get sick, you take them to the doctor. And that's just the way that I grew up. And then I started, as I was doing that research on the vilification of this doctor, I really uncovered a lot of things that really worried me about what's going on in our healthcare system and our world. I'm like, Lord, how can I help? And during this period, I developed an amazing relationship with my Savior. I really believe, I was a Christian when I was young, but I was never really active. And it wasn't really important in my life. And during that period, I started reading the Bible a lot, and moved to Texas, and have an amazing congregation that I'm part of. And I have this Mighty Men group that gets together every Saturday, there's literally 300 plus men that get together every Saturday morning who are just on fire for Christ, right? And it's
Mm-hmm.
really neat to see. And it's like, this is I wasn't afraid to be a Christian anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't really want to talk about being a Christian prior to me, having this relationship with him that I
Mm-hmm.
feel I have now. So I'm saying all of this to say that I realize that, man, our health system is a huge mess, and I've got to figure out a way to help people. And I felt
Mm-hmm.
that's what God put me on this earth to do. As I look back at my entire life, He was
Mm-hmm.
training me for what I'm doing today,
Mm-hmm.
right? He trained me when I was young to understand nutrition and
Mm-hmm.
how what you put in your body impacts your body in a major way. And then he taught me during after I got hit and going through that, I ended up being addicted to alcohol. So I
Mm-hmm.
drank alcohol for 20 plus years, almost every day, if not every day. And I'm 6 years sober, so I'm super proud of that. But there's just that period of time I learned how to sell. I learned how to communicate. I learned how to
Mhm.
have do research and have conversations. And then boom, the pandemic hit, and I'm like, oh my gosh. Then he gave me that really the research skill. He's like, okay, back up and don't trust other sources of information anymore because you can, that's the other component that I
Mhm.
didn't mention is when I was doing that research, I realized our information sources are controlled, which was really frustrating. And I was like, how, I was 50 years old maybe at the time. I'm like, how for the first 50 years of my life did I not understand that people are not telling me the real truth? And I
Mhm.
thought, the United States of America is like the most amazing country. We have the best
Mhm.
journalism. We have the best everything. And what I found out that,
Mhm.
our information is controlled. Our
Mhm.
healthcare system is not incentivized correctly. I love our doctors and nurses. They do great jobs, but they're not incentivized correctly. So
Mhm.
it just causes bad behavior. And big pharma controls so much of our information that we don't really understand the truth because we're not told the truth. So
Okay, so
anyway,
I have just a few questions for you.
sounds great. Sorry for me talking so much. I told you I'd
No,
do
never apologize for
that.
that. We love hearing from other people, your perspectives, your experiences. I really truly believe that we can make the world a better place through
Amen.
podcasting by sharing each other's stories and realizing that we all have a lot more in common than
Yeah.
we are told.
Amen.
If
Amen.
you,
Yeah, we're
okay.
all in this together, right? We're really, I mean, no matter what color, size, race, creed we're all human beings, right? And so it doesn't
Right. And
matter
this
what the
is
color of your skin is
exactly.
or whether you're male or female. It doesn't matter. We're all human beings. We're all the same. We all have, DNA that's yes, it's different, but at the same point, God made our bodies wonderfully and
Mhm.
incredibly, and we're all in the same boat together. So we need to work together to have an amazing life and live abundantly.
But interestingly enough, we weren't permitted to do that during the
Yeah.
pandemic, which
Yeah.
is another part of the, what's going
Right.
on here? So,
Right.
my first question for you is when you started doing your research and you were finding out what you were discovering and uncovering and unpeeling this onion, were you shocked?
Oh my gosh, I was shocked. I was actually, I felt like it was a death in my family, and like a real, like somebody really close to me died because I went through every single emotion that you
Mm,
go through during that period. At first, it was anger. I was like, how in the heck can I be so deceived at 50 years old or 49 or whatever it was the year? It was
mhm,
like, this pisses me off. I mean, it really did. It was like,
mhm.
this is so frustrating that this can actually happen and that there's these evil people that will do things like this. It's like, this doesn't make any sense to me. Why? There's no logic to it.
Mhm.
And when you go dig into it, you realize there is no logic. It's all about
Mhm.
greed. It's all about
Right,
money. And
right.
it's so frustrating. It's like, how is that possible? And you just start looking at the whole world in a different light. So yeah, I went through that really frustrated period. I'm like, this makes me really mad. And then I went through the depression. I was like,
Yeah.
this is horrible. We're all gonna die. This is the world's gonna end. It's like, I just felt really, really bad for a while. And then I'm like, I turned around and said, okay, it is this way. What can I do? And that's where I think the Lord has led me, just saying, okay, Rob, I gave you this body, I gave you this mind, I gave you this training on nutrition, I gave you this training on how to help people and
Mhm.
communicate with people. And so I want you to, go, and I was reading the Bible a lot, and he's like, go read the nutrition in the Bible or go read about the herbs and superfoods in the Bible. So I was researching all the herbs and superfoods in the Bible and just like how is that stuff that I can help people with, right? And went back to that nutrition, like what we eat can really help. And he just kept leading me back there. And so I was like, okay, is there something in here that just hasn't been discovered yet? Or what is it? And what I found was fascinating. There's so many herbs and superfoods in the Bible that's really, really neat. And I really honestly believe he put everything on the earth that we need because he made our bodies so incredibly complex.
Mhm.
I just saw this meme yesterday. Literally, my wife showed it to me, and it's like all these pieces of a human body. and it shows all the complexities of the body and the inner workings of it. And it's like, and do you think there's no creator, right? This is the most sophisticated machine on earth,
Mhm.
and you believe there was no design, a creator for this. So it was just like, yeah, we have an amazing body, it's super complex, but I believe that he's given us a lot of the herbs and superfoods that come from the that we're here on this
Mhm.
earth that we can use and help our body. So it's fascinating.
Okay, just a comment and a question. So, if you were here with me in my girl cave,
Yes,
you would see, my bookcases, my bookshelves are full of medical books
awesome,
and, physiology, neurology, you name it, we've got it. Both my
awesome.
husband and I were respiratory therapists in our previous careers.
Ah,
So, I did
fantastic.
that for 20 years before, I left and got my master's degree in physical therapy. So, I'm a therapist squared. But when the pandemic hit, and even like the first few days, I was like, we don't have to go to the grocery store. This is crazy. This isn't, this is, they're making this stuff up. And I actually kind of laughed. I thought it was a joke at first. And then when it really, was getting to, okay, everybody stay home, I looked at my husband and I said, this to me sounds like a sociological experiment because
And
this
now you
isn't
look back
right.
on it, you're right, right. I
And
mean, they
and,
look back
then
on
I
it.
right, and we looked at each other and I said, "We worked, both of us, in, intensive care units, a lot of in so long ago that the ventilator circuits weren't even closed circuits. So they were exhaling whatever the patient was exhaling into the room air, which we were then breathing in. And it's like, we survived horrible viruses. And, there was this
Right.
really weird flesh-eating bacteria thing. And it's like, I smell a rat."
Yeah, good for you. Good for you. Because 99% of the people didn't, right? And
Yeah.
I knew there was it took me for that vitamin D, right?
Yeah.
That was my wake up call. I'm like, that's why would they do that? That doesn't make any sense. So
Yeah, and why
yeah,
can't
you
we go out in the sun? Because, where we live, we get a lot of sunshine, but they even put like police tape around our parks. And it was like, well, that's stupid because
uh,
I can walk out of my house, walk half a block, and I'm in a park.
it was, yeah, and yet you can go to a bar and a strip club, right? It's like that just
Right.
does. It's like this is insane. Literally, it like made zero sense.
Hmm.
But yeah, you're right. It was, in my opinion, a very scary point in our history of
Hmm.
our world that
Yeah.
we could be controlled so easily with information and
Right.
AKA science. That
Yes.
is, now I'm understanding how you can manipulate experiments and you can pay
Hmm.
for experiments and you can control what this AKA science says so that you can then have an agenda. And that I didn't
Hmm.
understand how all that worked. I really didn't.
Hmm.
And it took the pandemic to wake me up. And I think it's
Hmm.
taken the pandemic to wake up millions of other people,
I do
right? They're
too.
like, oh my gosh, okay, this is
Hmm.
a joke, right? It literally is
Hmm.
this could have happened and did happen, and
Hmm.
then now we got to figure out ways to prevent that in the future, right?
Hmm.
So
Absolutely.
it's fascinating, but I feel that he has me on this earth to help people with their faith and their health. That's
Hmm.
why I call myself a warrior for faith and
Hmm.
health, because
Hmm.
I think that's what he's trained me to do, and so I'm dedicating my life to get people well
Hmm.
naturally through ingredients and solutions that he's put on this earth for
Hmm.
it. So I find it fascinating to help people that way.
Well, knowledge is power. That's, for
Yeah,
sure. And I want to go back to, I really want to highlight the superfoods and, the nutritional guide that you
yeah,
found in the Bible, because I think a lot of people right now are shaking their heads going, wait a minute, you know, how does this happen?
right, right.
So
Well,
were
that's
you
what.
were you surprised when you uncovered that, and share with the audience some of the things that you did uncover?
Yeah, so it's fun. It's just that what I felt he wanted me to do is just understand. Look, there's a lot of things in the Bible that
Mhm.
talk about herbs and superfoods. There's the balm of Gilead, which is like a healing ointment. It's like, man, if we could find the balm of Gilead, we'd be such a more healthy society, because that thing was just it would heal people, right? Kind of like Jesus could heal people. But what I did find is the wheat and barley and just cumin and saffron and cinnamon, and there's so many different ingredients that are
Mhm.
mentioned in the Bible, and then they would put them together like in the healing oils, right? And the healing ointments and other things. So I'm just like, okay, you keep pointing me back to this.
Mhm.
What is it and why? And I found it really fascinating to try to come up with a combination that somebody else hadn't already done, right? Because people have done similar things, and you can
Mhm.
find frankincense and myrrh,
Mhm.
out there in their own environments. And I'm like, okay, maybe it's a combination of certain things that will make it extra special. And then, the Lord led me to this gentleman, this practitioner in California who had this molecular hydrogen blend. And so it was really fascinating. I found these 7 ingredients that really, really good for energy and for inflammation relief. Part of my that podcast you mentioned at my intro was I am pain free because I have a pain relief product. So I created this podcast to help people get rid of pain because I was doing research. 50% of our seniors have some type of pain or chronic pain. It's like
Mhm.
really, really high percentage. It's like, okay, this is horrible. We don't our seniors shouldn't have this much pain. How do I help
Mhm.
people naturally and faithfully? And so I interview all these holistic doctors and practitioners on getting pain free. And a
Mhm.
lot of them come back to the gut, right? Your gut health is really important. And then inflammation is what's causing most people's
Mhm.
pain. And so I'm like, okay, let's figure out a way to get rid of inflammation. So that I was working with the combination of ingredients in the Bible that would help with inflammation, but it still wasn't anything different that you could find out on the marketplace until
Mhm.
I met this practitioner who had this molecular hydrogen blend. You
Mhm.
combine this molecular hydrogen blend with my biblical ingredients, and that's what we ended up creating a new product called Exodus because it's so fascinating how it works together. And then this molecular hydrogen is like the most basic element on the earth, right?
Right.
It's the first item on the periodic table. So God created all of this, and we're able to put it into a combination that's really unique, that's never been done before, that really has some amazing health benefits. So I'm really excited. I believe this is why he put me here, is
Mhm.
to take this product out to the world to help people because it's really 100% natural. It's all biblically based ingredients, and it has dramatic health effects.
Mhm.
So it's super exciting to be able to have that responsibility to get out into the world. So if you take a couple of the ingredients, we have barley grass and wheatgrass. Those are mentioned throughout the Bible
Mhm.
everywhere, not everywhere, but a lot of places. And then
Mhm.
they really help with energy
Mhm.
production inside. They give you all the nutrients that you need. So instead of having to drink a green shake every morning, you can use that. And then there's saffron was another unique one that I thought was
Mhm.
fascinating because saffron is mentioned a number of times in the Bible as well. And it was like, okay, what's unique about saffron? And then when I found out saffron is like the most expensive ingredient on earth. It's more expensive than gold, right? From a weight
Mhm.
perspective.
Mhm.
But then you look at the benefits of it, and there's so many people that are anxious and have anxiety and stress because our society is stress producing, right?
Mhm.
And saffron is amazing. It's literally clinically proven to help with stress relief. So we added that to the product, and then you take aloe and cumin, frankincense, and myrrh, make those combinations, which round out our 7 ingredients, and those really help with that inflammation reduction
Mhm.
that I was mentioning. So, and then you add the molecular hydrogen, which is in and of itself something that's just really dramatic, the positive effects it has on the body, and
Mhm.
it really reduces inflammation in a significant way. So people can come pain free just using our natural supplement.
So is this do you take it orally or is it topical or what is this product? I mean, and I'm
Yeah.
still trying to wrap my head around the molecular hydrogen because I was thinking it was some kind of like machinery or whatever.
Right, right. Yeah, that's what it is. So there's 3 ways to get hydrogen in the body. There's either connecting to a machine that's creating hydrogen and you inhalate it, and
Hmm.
then but the problem when you inhale it, it doesn't cross the blood-brain barrier.
Right.
And
Great.
so then the second way is through little capsules that you can put in water or these little water machines. I think you may have seen these new water bottles that you click a button, turns blue, and it creates hydrogen.
Hmm.
And those are good, and I still use mine because it's better than non hydrogen water. But the problem is when it creates hydrogen, it starts diffusing right away. So if you don't drink
Oh.
it immediately, it's diffused. So it really is no value. And then by the time it actually does create it and you drink it immediately, by the time it goes down your esophagus into your stomach and your body assimilates, it might take up to 10 minutes, right, for that
Hmm.
water to get assimilated into the body. And then that whole time it's diffusing. So there's not a whole lot of hydrogen that gets into the body that way. And what's really unique about our product, it's a patented blend that when it goes into your stomach, so it's a capsule to answer
Okay.
your
Hmm.
question. It's a capsule and it's the formula when it goes inside your body and it interacts with your body fluid inside your body creates the hydrogen. That's what's so magical about it is, and I get magical is a bad word probably, but that's what's so special about it is since your body is creating the hydrogen, your body assimilates it
Hmm.
in a much, much higher percentage than any other way. So you're getting a really strong dose of hydrogen inside the bloodstream. And the neat thing about it, it creates these little micro nanobubbles that cross the blood-brain barrier and the gut-brain barrier inside
Hmm.
your bloodstream. And then it acts as a master antioxidant. And so you probably know what that means, but I didn't when I was starting to research this. But an antioxidant, right, will get rid of free radicals in the
Hmm.
bloodstream, which is the bad things you don't want. So that's amazing. But the neat thing about it being a master antioxidant is it knows to keep the good. So it helps the mitochondrial process work more effectively
Hmm.
while it's getting rid of the bad.
Hmm.
So just the molecular hydrogen component in and of itself of our product is just
Hmm.
absolutely phenomenal. And you combine that with the anti-inflammation and the energy components with our top other seven is we've built a solution that's literally like no other product, and it's super super exciting to be able to have this responsibility to take it out to the world because the neat thing about it is it's amazing. The bad thing about it is I'm a small company that's bootstrapping it and no one knows I have this amazing product yet.
Hmm. Well, our
So
listeners know now,
yeah,
and
so now I'm so excited to be able to be here to talk about it because it is extra special and this is the way I want to help introduce it to people, right? I want to get on people's shows like yours. Thank you so much for having me because I believe this is a product that's just it's not like any other supplement I've ever taken. Every supplement I've ever taken, which have taken a lot with my
hmm.
athletic career,
Hmm.
is I don't know if they help me, right? Until I get my blood done, right? It's like,
Hmm.
okay, I've get my blood test and before, and then, 2, 3 months later, I take my blood test again and let's see if it helped. And then you adjust. That's and the neat thing about this product is you physically feel a difference pretty quickly. Like if you have inflammation and pain,
Hmm.
you can take this product and within an hour you're more than likely going to feel the difference, which is just so cool to have a product that it's called like kind of an impact
Hmm.
product. So it helps really quickly. So
So,
that
how long ago did you launch this product?
yeah, just a couple months ago. So literally,
Whoa.
yeah. So it's like, but it took us almost a year to manufacture, because we were working on. I had like initially 20 different ingredients that I thought, okay, let's do these, and we came down with the seven that are synergistic with the hydrogen. Right? We
Hmm.
took all the benefits of what hydrogen will do, and we said, okay, let's find the best seven ingredients that really augment what's going and help the hydrogen. So the combination of the two will be like no other. And
Hmm.
it literally is. And so it took us a long time. With just 2 months ago, we really haven't even officially launched the product. We have soft launched it because I've been getting on people's shows and
Hmm.
I've been having conversations with it, but we haven't done an official launch. We're going to wait till early in the year, probably in January. We're going to do an official launch where we're going to have a gathering of like-minded people. We're going to bring in some celebrities, or not, maybe not celebrities, but
Hmm.
some. It's a faith-based product because since it's got seven biblical ingredients, and then the other really cool thing too is we have a prayer guide that goes along with the product. So
Hmm.
our mission at the company is to get 1 million new people to read the word through their health.
Hmm.
And you don't have to be a faith-based person to
Hmm.
benefit from the product, but we do include a prayer guide because we believe the combination of your eyes reading it and your mouth to declaring it and your ears
Hmm.
hearing yourself say it, and taking the supplement had the combination of those multiple senses are more effective than not. And so that's another key part of what we're doing. So anyway, our launch that we're going to be doing earlier in the year, we're going to try to get a good gathering of people and do a more of a big bang, like to here to the world. We've got a new product and it's amazing. So
Hmm.
that's the plan.
Wow. Okay. That's quite the plan. And it's almost like, yeah, with your little your prayer guide along with it, it's kind of like the power boost.
Yeah, yeah, we really
Yeah.
believe it's important to
Hmm.
combine those senses because even one of the things I didn't understand is the power of your mind, right? And your past and history, you understand that, right? There's so
Hmm.
much power in a person's mind that you can really change your body by
Hmm.
just your mind. And so I've also done research on the power of prayer, right? The
Hmm.
power of prayer can literally make a physical difference on external items and intentions. Have you ever heard of Dr. Emoto?
No.
He's the water, he's done experiments on water. He's passed since, but he is amazing. He's done these researches on water where literally intentions will have a physical impact on the makeup of water. In fact,
Wow.
let me show you this book. I love his book because it's inspirational and impactful. Can you see that?
Okay, I can see that. So
It's
just for the listeners who are not watching on YouTube, it is a New York Times bestseller, and the title is The Hidden Messages in Water.
Yes, and it's by Dr. Um, Masaru, Masaru Emoto. And it's just fascinating because the book really goes through and describes how the intentions and prayers and other things can have a physical impact
Wow.
on items. So he does before and after pictures, like
Mm-hmm.
of a water bottle and the crystals, the
Mm-hmm.
makeup of the water, and
Mm-hmm.
he'll show the beautiful crystals after an event. One of his experiments that I absolutely love is rice experiment. So he does this rice experiment where he has 3 jars of rice that have same amount of rice and same amount of water in them.
Mm-hmm.
And then he has one jar that for 30 days, he does this experiment. One jar, he says, I hate you. And he swears at the jar. And then the middle jar, he says, I love you. And he cares for this middle jar. And the third jar, he totally ignores. And he does that same thing for 30 days. And at the end of 30 days, you look at these uh, jars of rice, and it's unbelievable. The one that he swore at and had bad intentions toward and was mad at, it was disgusting. It was just
Ooh.
gross and moldy. And then the one that he cared for and loved, it's literally clear. It's still a little bit murky because rice has been in water for 30 days, but it's white. There's no mold or anything. Then the one that he ignored is almost as bad as the one he had bad
Wow.
intentions towards. So what's fun is he did that experiment, then everybody else was like, "Oh, that's crazy. That can't work." And so hundreds of other people have replicated his experiment. And it's like they're amazed. They're like, "Oh my gosh, it works. It's so cool." So
Well,
just go
I
ahead.
I remember, I think it was in the 70s. It was a big thing to talk to your plants.
Yeah,
And so
exactly.
it's like, okay, we did that back then. And I really want to make a
Yep.
point for the listeners, especially because I always tell people, be careful what you tell yourself. And
Yeah.
I used to be
Yeah.
the master of like self-denigration and beating myself up. And once I, got rid of that and changed my mindset and my belief system, life got a whole lot better. But
Yeah.
if you're berating yourself, even in jest, your mind is listening always. And you can't see it like you could see it with the rice in the jar.
Right.
But just
That's
think
right.
about every time you're doing that, you're
Yeah.
hurting yourself, and it's one more little piece of information that your mind is saying, yeah, you're not worthy.
That's right. That's right. And even the Bible says there's power in the tongue, right? I mean,
Mhm.
there's power in your the what you're saying. So yeah, I think it's really important. People need to understand that you can speak life into yourself and into your world and to other people's lives, and or you can speak death. And
Mhm.
so let's speak life to people, right? Let's speak joy. And then man, it's amazing because it literally has an impact, and it's not just a metaphorical thing,
Right.
it's a literal thing, which is I didn't understand. I thought that was kind of kooky, right? Or crazy or woo-woo or whatever term you want to apply to it. I didn't believe that type of stuff
Mhm.
until I started doing research on it. And then it's like, oh my gosh, this is real. And it has a real impact. So
Mhm.
that's where I'm just like I'm on fire to help people. I'm like, look, we can make such a different transformation in our lives for free
Mhm.
if you just do certain things, right? And
Mhm.
so I always try to get in these three things that I want to teach people because they're simple things and they're things that you know, but you don't probably practice every day.
Mhm.
But if you practice these three things every day, you're going to start helping your health. And then you're going to say,
Mhm.
man, I feel a little bit better. Maybe it's because of those three things. So the first one is just getting enough water, right? Most of us are dehydrated. And
Mhm.
you need to have at least 1 ounce of water for every 2 pounds of body. So I'm 200 pounds, so I need to have 100 ounces of water every day. And you
Wow.
start thinking about that, that's quite a bit of water. And most of us don't drink enough. And so if you
Mhm.
get that and you do it consistently, your body starts operating the way it's supposed to. So
Mhm.
that's the first one. The second one I always like to do is guess what? That one vitamin D word we talked about, right? It's like if you can get some sun every day, and then even that first 45 minutes of sun during sunrise, it's so helpful. They call that blue light, and that blue
Mm.
light has um, no UV rays, so it's
Mhm.
like very, very healthy. That first 45 minutes of sun, and then the third one is grounding.
Mm.
Yeah, my wife loves to give me a hard time because when she first told me about grounding, I have very sensitive feet. So I want my shoes on. And she's like, no, you need to take your shoes off and get them on the ground. And I'm like, why? I don't like that. But then I've
Mm.
researched the benefits of grounding, and yeah, I can sell you a $5,000 mat to put in your
Mhm.
apartment, and you can ground on your mat. Or you can do it 100% free by taking your socks and shoes off and get out in the grass or the dirt and get your feet on God's given earth, and it really helps clear out your
Mhm.
energy system and refreshes your energy system. It's just fascinating when you do that. So if you get good water, you get some good vitamin D, and you ground and reset your energy system,
Mhm.
your body's going to start feeling so much better. Then
Mhm.
it's like, wow, that was free. Wherever
That is
everybody should do that.
that is so funny you should mention that because I was like you, shoes had to stay on. I
Yeah,
never
yeah,
went around barefoot, not even I mean, I did when I was a kid at the swimming pool, and that was
right.
probably it. But no, shoes had to be on. You never walk around barefoot. And then I'm something called a Feldenkrais practitioner, which is a highly sophisticated form of neuromuscular reeducation. But anyhow, it's a
Nice. I
4 year
love
long program. And I was in one of the trainings. It's like, okay, we're going to take our shoes off. And it's like, oh no, no, this is
it.
never going to happen. And it was a small group. And I was like, I can't do that. And then finally, I just, very tenacious, timidly, I took off my shoes and I stepped on the cement outside. And it was like, oh, okay, so nothing terrible happened. And then I got obsessed with taking my shoes off and walking around barefoot, especially when we were in the mountains. I'd go like on
Yes.
hot, warm rocks that were warmed by the sun. And now it's a daily practice. I do what I call my mindful walking. It's a little cold now, the winter's coming, but when the weather's nice, I take my shoes off and I walk in my yard, and I'm very mindful in my bare feet because I have two dogs. And so
Oh,
what I'm
yeah.
doing is I'm actually picking up the yard as I walk. And I mean, it's just like a wonderful way to start the day because I'm getting my grounding in, I'm getting my earthing in, and I'm picking up the yard. So it's like starting with a clean slate, if you know what I
There you
mean.
go. Yeah, I totally do. 100% agree. I love that. I love that. And see, that's the stuff that I really thought was silly, right?
Me
And
too.
what I'm finding is, there, if we just do the basics, man, you can really transform your life in a really healthy way. And then, our water's being poisoned, our food is being poisoned, our air is being poisoned. So you start realizing that, oh, okay, I need to start actually being intentional about
Mhm.
my grounding, about getting some sun, and about getting the right water. And then you start being intentional about what you're putting in your body, what you're eating, right? And it's amazing when you start transforming
Mhm.
your life. And man, people with chronic disease can really do them a great
Mhm.
favor by just going back to these basics. And then you can, God made our bodies wonderful to
Mhm.
heal themselves, right? If you
Mhm.
cut yourself, guess what? If you didn't do it too bad, it's going to start healing itself. Right? So he made it to do that. We just need to give it what it needs, and then
Mhm.
it's going to start doing the right things. And so just super passionate about helping people. I want to get them there, because if I can get them healthy, then guess what? If they are a person of faith, then they can have a better impact on the kingdom. Because
Mhm.
that's what I want to do. I want to go have an impact on people's faith and on the kingdom, because I believe that's what the Bible, the Great Commission is,
Mhm.
to spread the word, right? And spread the gospel. And if people are sitting on the couch sick, they can't have much of an impact on the world. And let's get people positive. Let's get people help having an impact on the world. So
Well, and I really believe reclaiming our health and taking charge of our lives is kind of like it's a message that we're telling those who want to control us, who are trying to keep us sick, trying to keep
yeah,
us depressed. It's so empowering when you can do that. And it's also, it's one of my favorite sayings, and I'm sure I didn't make it up, but living well and looking good is the best revenge. For those
yeah,
who tried to lock us up and, take away a lot of our
that's right.
ability to move around and do the things we want. It's like, no, hey, guess what? I can come out of this even better, stronger, healthier, more fit. Yeah, so.
Yeah, and then you get to that point, and then you're like, you are excited and you want to help other people, right? You're like, hey, I want my kids, I want my friends, I want them to understand this, because it's so easy, really. It's not, I mean,
It's
yes, it may
not
take
hard.
it may take a while
Yeah.
for make a big transformation, but it's not that hard. And it's
Mhm.
something that if we start sharing with people, it's like, guess what? You can do it too.
Mhm.
Everybody can do it, and it gets addictive, and you're just like, hey, this is a lot of
Mhm.
fun. And you're right, it's just like kind of shoving it in their faces, like, hey, you're trying to make our lives difficult. You're trying to depopulate the earth. There's some people that are really that evil. Not
Mhm.
all of them, but there are some that are really super evil. And we need to just fight back. And the way we can fight back is doing things the way God intended. And I think it's empowering, and it's fun. I love your saying, because you're so spot on. It's super exciting.
Mhm. Yep. And I want to ask you one last question because I know we need to wrap up here pretty soon. But as you were going through this process of creating this product, what was it like with dealing with like the regulations and things that you had to go through? How tedious was that?
Well, that's why it took us a year, right? Because we're
Huh.
like, okay, let's find the right combination, and that was a lot of it too. Was like, how do we make this different? Because we didn't want to just create something that was already out there, and
Mhm.
then how do we make something that has just enormous benefits that people can't deny? And
Mhm.
then it's just going to be, the product is going to sell itself, because when people start using it, they're going to say, "Oh my gosh, this is amazing." In fact, I was just at a pickleball arena just this last weekend, and I'm like, this pickleball is so much fun, right? And there's so many people. It's like, guess what? I've created almost the perfect pickleball product. And my wife's like, "What do you mean?" I said, "Everybody who plays pickleball is a little sore the next day, because their bodies are inflamed, their muscles are sore, and guess what? Every single one of them wants energy to be able to do pickleball. So I've got a product that gives them good energy and reduces their inflammation." I said, every single one of these persons is going to want to gonna want to use my product. But to answer your question, it took us a long time to get through it. And now we're just being very cautious on, we can't make any claims that it's going to heal
Right.
anything, right? We can't
Right.
say, but my gosh, it has a lot of benefits. And I can just point people to a couple of websites. The fun thing about hydrogen is it's so amazing and so impactful that there's been hundreds, actually, there have been thousands of studies on hydrogen already. So if you go to hydrogenstudies.com
Mm-hmm.
or you go to molecularhydrogenstudies.com, go to those two sites and you look at all the studies that have been done on hydrogen. And a lot of them are on animals and other things, but there are hundreds of them that are done on humans. And you start just researching any topic, right? You could research blood sugar, you could research blood pressure, you could research, brain fog. You can research all these different things, and then it shows you the studies that have already been done and the impact that it has on all of these issues. And then I look at the top 5 issues that our society has, and in my opinion, it looks like hydrogen will help with a very large majority of them. So that's why I'm just so excited. This product is really going to have a positive impact on people and on the world. So I'm trying to make it cost effective to get it out to the world so that people can start benefiting from it. And then we have a really neat referral program
Mm-hmm.
where if you like it, then I can, sign you up for free as give you a referral code, and you can get 20% on just sharing it with your friend. So
Mm-hmm.
you share it with 5 friends, and guess what? Your product's free. So
Mm-hmm.
it's really a neat way to help share the product in a really cost-effective way, as well as help people help people. And that's kind
Mm-hmm.
of my mantra now, right? I want to get people strong and healthy and get them well, so they can have an impact on the kingdom. So
Mm-hmm. Excellent.
that's
Well, Rob, it has been an absolute delight having you on the show. I am going to try your product, and it's not really, I don't have, aches or pains or I was a chronic pain patient when I was in my mid 30s. Long
wow.
story. Yeah. That's what
Yeah.
got me on my healing journey. And
Awesome.
it's like,
Awesome.
I'm 68 now and I can do more at this age than I did 30 years ago.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
Great
but I do
job.
get sore afterwards. But my husband has issues with gout, and
Oh,
I
yeah.
think that would and inflammation. So I think it would really help him too. So
Yeah.
yeah, I'm gonna
Agreed.
give it a try and see. But anyway, um, I want you to share any links that you want with the listeners right now. Of course, this is all going to be in the show notes forever and ever, and I've got a website too where I post all of my guest appearances, all the episodes. It's going to be there as well. But I really like for the guests to be able to articulate it because it makes it a lot more personal. So, how could people reach you? How could they get a hold of you, connect with you, check out your social media and your website?
Yeah, sounds good. So it's really simple because it's Exodus, just like the book in the Bible, EXODUS, strong. So exodusstrong.com is the way to find me. And then when you come to the site, if you sign up as a champion, which is that referral
Mm.
program, you can join our community for free. And our community is just people that are interested in Exodus. And I'm on that community all the time. And so I can share with you all of the studies that have been done. You have a specific question on a specific issue. I have the practitioner who helped me formulate this product. He's on often. In fact, we already have the product in 7 different doctors' offices already, right? Only the 2 months we've been involved. So they love this product because it's helping their patients. And so it's
Wow.
I believe it's just going to expand like crazy when I get the word out. So
So, are these traditional MDs, or are you talking more like naturopaths, chiropractors, alternative health and healing doctors?
yeah, combination of both. So we have
Wow.
some regular MDs, and then we have who are just who love help people, and then the other ones are majority of them are holistic chiropractors and health practitioners.
So, I'm guessing that, hang on a second, I wrote this down. Let me see. It must be on a different page. Hang on. Okay, it's somewhere. I'm guessing that the traditional medical industrial complex absolutely loves you.
Yeah, yeah, they're not a fan, but that's why I'm so excited about the recent changes in our government, as I believe that the Maha movement is going to be very powerful. I
Mm-hmm.
think Make America Healthy Again is something that
Mm-hmm.
I've been very passionate about, and now I believe it's going to come to the forefront finally. And
Mhm.
I think that we are going to have initiatives all across our country of help having people be healthy again. And my gosh, I'm just going to be at the forefront of that because I
Mhm.
love that. That's my whole,
Mhm.
believe why God has me on this earth, right? Is to
Mhm.
help people understand how they can be healthy. And if we have a movement that's happening within our country, it's so gratifying
Mhm.
to see people who are excited to get rid of the toxins in our food, get rid of
Mhm.
the toxins in our air. Let's make America healthy again because
Mhm.
we have the power to do it. And it's and like I said, if you take those three things I did for free, I have another three that are also free that are kind of the next level. Those take a little bit more effort and a little bit more time, but they're
Mhm.
free and they're fantastic for you. So
Mhm.
there's he's come with me and start a journey
Mhm.
on getting well naturally and faithfully.
Mhm. We were made and meant to be healthy, fit,
Yes.
and happy. That is how
Awesome.
we were created.
I love it. 100% agree, right? He created this amazing body not to be sedentary and sit on the couch
Mhm.
and watch TV all day, right? That's
And
not
eat
how we built
Cheetos.
our
Yeah.
bodies. Yeah, exactly. And eat Cheetos or Fruit Loops, right? Have you seen all the Fruit
Oh,
Loop stuff? Like, yeah.
my head will explode. I mean, my head has exploded many times before when I looked at, like the food pyramids and how they change over
Yeah.
the years. And I'm like,
Oh, I know. Yeah, it's
do
like
they think
literally
we're
it's
stupid?
the opposite of the
Right.
way it's supposed to be. But
Right.
that's why I'm so excited about this Baja movement is the people that are really a part of it. It doesn't have to be just a leader, but if you look at all the people
Hmm.
underneath the Maha movement are really trying to make a difference. They're
Hmm.
awesome. They're very intelligent, very scientifically proven and oriented, and they're going to help people get well. And
Hmm.
I'm so excited to be just a little teeny part of that, just to say, hey, I'm gonna help amplify that message, and I have an amazing product that can help people get to that point where they feel well, and then they can start doing other things
Hmm.
to get healthy again.
Hmm. Well, I think that is a wonderful goal. And I think that you're off and running, with a great start. And I'm just really excited to follow you and see what happens next with the company and the product. And when you do write a book, contact me and you
Ah,
can come back on the show and tell the listeners about that.
that sounds fantastic. I love it. I am working on a book that's the title is changing, but it literally is like there's 2,000 years of ancient wisdom in the Bible, right? And it's
Yep.
related to the herbs and superfoods that are there because it's really, really amazing when you research and find that. And it's like, look at all the things you can do with the
Hmm.
stuff that are even, 2,000 years old, right? So it's pretty
Well,
exciting.
if it worked for 2,000 years, why aren't we using it?
Yeah, why aren't we using it? Yep, yep, exactly. So, what a
Well,
pleasure to be on your show. Thank you
Oh,
so
thank
much.
you. Thank you. It's a pleasure to have you. I really enjoyed talking with you and love, hearing your journey, your story, and really excited about trying the product myself because I could use a little bit more energy. I know everybody thinks, "Oh, you're so energetic." I'm like, "You should see me in the evening."
Yeah, I hear you. I think you look amazing and you sound, especially, for I'm not saying that you're old, but for your age, you are incredibly you're well put together. So,
Thank
congratulations.
you. Thank you. It took me 68 years to get to this point.
There you go. Awesome.
So we got a lot more to do.
There you
All right.
go.
Well, thanks again for being on the show, Rob.
What a pleasure. Thank you.
Everybody, thank you so much for listening. I really appreciate it. Please share this episode with everyone you know who's interested in changing their lives, becoming healthy. It's really not that hard. You just have to take those first few steps, and then it's easy after that. And remember that living well and looking good is the best revenge. And that is the way of the FemiNinja.